Jacob is saying, hi, Chris. You talked about putting work life aside as soon as you touch the door handle when coming home. I love that. Thank you. Do you have any tips on how to get a wife or a spouse to switch off from work? Cheers. Yeah. So what Jacob is referring to is a couple of weeks ago on my webcast, I mentioned how it's so important to detach from work when you get home. And for me, I used to walk in the front door, and Matthew, who was my middle child at the time, he would say, "Daddy, do you have a good day or a bad day?" And I was always very nice, and I tried to put on a happy face always when things weren't great. Of course, you don't want to bring the kids into that. But if I said, "Oh, it was an okay day," then he would turn around and go, "Oh." And then if I said it was a great day, he would say, "Can we play baseball in the backyard?" And there's nothing better than playing catch with your kids. And so what I decided to do was I decided to meditate and condition myself so that when I touch the doorknob on the house when I come home, immediately work leaves my head and work doesn't enter my head again, at least when I work for other people. Now I do what I love, so it's a little bit different. But work would not enter my head again until I touch the doorknob to leave the house. And you can do this. You can condition yourself. A lot of professional athletes will meditate and think about them making that basketball shot over and over and over again, for example. And what that does actually is it conditions you to, think positively as well in terms of executing perfectly or flawlessly, I should say, within sports. So in terms of your question, Jacob, about how to get your spouse to switch off from work as well, you can ask your spouse if they want to try this methodology of touching the doorknob. If that doesn't work, then what you can do is, you can set certain times to talk about business if you want to. You don't have to schedule it like that. But I do different things, man. Like what I do is when we go out to dinner as a family, what we do is my kids and I and Christine, we have to all pile up our iPhones in the middle of the table. So there's like a big stack. It's not easy to do. The kids complain because they want to play Clash of Clans. Sometimes I do too. But if you stack them up together, then that kind of lets everybody know that we got to just detach and unplug from the rest of the world and just focus on our family because nothing's more important than that. So you might try that hack with your kids or your family if you want to. And what I find with Christine, my wife, is that in order to reconnect, it's tough when you have kids. So when you first get married, it's all about you and your spouse, obviously. And then when you have kids, you both kind of focus much more on the kids. And what happens is a lot of times, and this has not happened to me, but a lot of my friends it has, when the kids get older and they leave, then a divorce occurs because they realize, husband and wife, that they didn't connect and they're not the same people as they were, and they don't know each other as well as they did when they first got married. And so one way around that, I think, is especially for those of you just having kids now, just try to have date night once a week. I'm smiling because I'm thinking of the movie with Justin Bateman, Date Night, which was hysterical, but or that was called Game Night, sorry. But when you do date night and you go out, just reconnect with your spouse that way. Just reconnect. And, in my family, I try to make Sunday a family day. And my parents did the same thing with me growing up, and my brother James and sisters Katie and Elizabeth. So on Sundays, no one's allowed to have friends over, and it's just family time. And for us, we go to church, we go to lunch and that sort of thing. And we kind of reconnect that way, and there's no talk about work, especially for me. I'm not allowed to work on Sundays. It's a sacred day. And for thousands of years, our forefathers and foremothers have known that, you'll burn out if you work 7 days a week. And so one of the 10 basic rules, which is the basis for our legal system and for many great religions, one of the 10 basic rules is to rest at least one day a week. And reconnect with your family that way. And maybe, Jacob, what you can do is you can have a policy in your house if you want, whereby you don't talk about money or which can be stressful, I get it, or anything business related on Sunday. It's a family day.